My name is Jensen. Let's learn some UiPath. Today we will talk about table extraction from websites, but we're also going to cover how we actually can validate that we extract the right data in the first place. And afterwards we will do some basic filtering with UiPath activities. And then I will introduce you to one of my favorite things in UiPath, that is LINQ, a query language which will be very powerful. We can write some very good expressions. Welcome to all of you out there. I'm so pleased that you want to join these sessions. That this means that I can make a living out of my hobby and work, which is this combined thing. So thanks for watching. Let's get started. I will say that you should open up your own UiPath and build with me. Even though it's just some of the things, you'll learn a lot. You can also watch this session afterwards. So you can also do that and then just watch now. I will share my desktop here, and this is UiPath. Let's take a look at the case. What are we going to build today? Well, I prepared a case where we want to data scrape some structured data. This is my YouTube channel. I want to get all the titles of my video along with other data, such as the view length, the views down here, and the URL to the videos. This is a common case in RPA development where we want to get some structured data out. But there's a big challenge here. You can see that all the videos are not present. I need to scroll all the way to the bottom to get all the videos. And I will do that because, of course, I want all the results, but I also need to find out which one of these videos are my most viewed videos. We will create that in UiPath, and you are going to help me. So what we can do is that we can use mouse scroll in UiPath, but we can either tie it to an element, say that we can see that there's something down here in the end. Then we can tie that mouse scroll, say, to UiPath that it should scroll down all the way to an end. But we can also do another thing, because here I'm not sure, there's no element here, and this video might get removed or something, so I have no element to tie it to. Then we will do a dynamic mouse scroll where we will do different kinds of scrapings, compare them together, and then we will know that we're in the end. Let me show you. So I'll minimize this, and then I'll start a new process. We could call this table, or caps lock, table extraction UiPath case. And if you have questions, just post them in the chat. I can see that we already have nice comments here. Rachel and Morten joins. We also have YC Tech Live. Hello from Singapore. I'm sitting here in Denmark. And all you other people out there, let me know if you're here and where you're joining from. So now we have started up our project. We can build a case. I first want to tell you how this table extraction wizard works. So if you press this table extraction up here, this was my Grammarly. So then I want to scrape all the data here. But as I told you, this page looked like this in the beginning, and then I will have more and more results as I scroll down. Let me just refresh it. To get the data out here, and I want all the data, then I can press add data. Since I also want the URL tied to this title, I press this little icon up here before I press add data. So when I press add data, I can find the first title like this. Boom, UiPath automatically detects all the other titles. This is very, very clever. So then I can move. I can see I have now 2 columns of data. The first one I can inspect by clicking this wheel here. You can see that this is actually a sample here, and this is indeed the first title. Let me get back to here. I will call it something nicer, just title, because we will work with that. Then I'll click save. Similarly, I can find a URL here. You can see it here. I could call this URL and then click save. It's very easy from here, because now if I want to scrape the length of all the videos, I just press this one here, sorry, I need to, it's always in these labels, I need to press finish selections and then add data. And then I can press the length here. And now you can see that I actually, when this is pressed, I have scraped out the URL again. One URL is enough. So it's important that we untick this when we have scraped the URL if we don't want to scrape it multiple times. So let me click finish selection here and let us untick this one up here. And here we can see that if I click this wheel, we will have the length. So I can do this, call it length. And now we don't want the URL twice. So I just click this trash here. And now, oh, the title disappeared here, but this was the title. Click save here. And this was the URL. Then we click save. So now I also want to scrape the views because I want to compare my data. So after we scraped it, we want to filter it. That's a common case. So I'll click add data. Then I'll click views here. And we can see that the views are automatically scraped as well. If I go in here, I can see that this is a sample from the first item, 519 views. Maybe some of you out there watch this very video. Maybe you don't. We'll call this views, and then I click save. So now I have my data. It's that easy. I can just click finish selection, and then I can click save here. It says that multiple pages rows are configured, but we don't have a next button. You know these pages where we have a next button in the right corner to get to the next side with more items? We can configure that. But since we don't have a next button, we don't configure it up here. I just click continue. We're back to UiPath. Here we can see that UiPath automatically created a use application browser scope with the URL here. This one will open up Edge and navigate to this side. Then we will extract the data. We will do a more advanced one in a few minutes, but this is just to show you how powerful this is. So let me just print it out. I will just print it, do a debug and show you the extraction results here. So if I just move in a right line, this right line is only to add a breakpoint at, like this, and then I can click debug. So now we are scraping the data from the side. It will stop here at the right line, so we can inspect the data here in this nice one here. Let me just stop it again. And then what we want to do now is that we want to make a count, and we will build this from scratch in a few seconds. I will just show you what our strategy will be. And then when we have inspected it, we want to count the rows in this data table. And we want to do that because we will count the rows when we do the first scraping. Then we will scroll down, extract one more time, count the rows in that data table. That one will be different because now we have scrolled down. So we'll compare those two. If those two are different, we will do more scrolling. If they are equal to each other, then we know we are all the way to the bottom. We can then scrape our data. So that's our strategy today. This is very, very easy. You can do it yourself. There's no magic involved. It's very, very straightforward. So let's build it from scratch. I will delete these and we will do the exact same thing again. So this one here, I will just call this sequence use case. I like to keep my projects organized. And let us watch the chat. Peter Unerup is on board. Hello, Peter. Welcome to the stream. So we want to do several things here. And the first thing that we want to do is just to scrape the data to make sure that we're all the way to the bottom, that we will compare the data. So what we will do here is that we will do an extraction. We only want to do on the titles, and then we will get the data afterwards when we're sure we are all the way to the bottom and getting the right amount of data. It looks like this. So I'll just do the table extraction just like before. Nothing has changed. You can see here our live video is here. We will not have a timestamp since this is just called live. This is you are one of the 10 if you watch this video. Anyway, I'll just click add data. I will not have this URL toggle now. I'll just get the titles, and this is just to make sure that I am on the right page. Again, I can just give it a better name if I want, and I can see the sample after parsing is here. Then I can click Save. I'll just finish the selection. This is what I need. Then I can click Save, Continue, just as before. We don't have a next button. So now this is my extracted data. And let me show you the clever thing. Why are we even doing this? Well, if I just paste in a white line here, I'll do the control space to get the intelligence. Then I will have the extract data table dot. Then I will have a rows count. This one will give us an integer, so we need to have it in a string. Let me get some coffee. So then I will apply the toString method, and let me show you if I run this. We haven't done any mouse scrolls. We just extracted this data. If I go to the output, we can see that we have 30 rows. That means we have 30 titles. And then I want to say, I want to scroll down. And now I can run the automation once more. It will look like this. Now we have 60. So then I'll compare these two numbers. If those ones are different, that means that another new items have shown up after we did the data scraping, and therefore these two are different. We will continue to do mouse scrolls in our automation as long as these two are different. So we will create two variables to keep track of those, two type of integers. These ones will hold these results. So what is very powerful here is that we can do a do while. A do while as a while loop will continue over and over as long as a condition is met. Let me show you. So I'll find a do while. Let me know in the chat if things goes too fast, too slow. I will adjust. I'll try to make the right pace, and you can always pause or rewind the video after the live session. The video will be at the same address. So then I'll find a do while. I'll first drag it here. And let's talk a bit about what a do while is doing. A do while is entering up here. Then it will perform some sort of activities in here, in this body. This could be one or more. Then it will look at a condition. If this condition is true, then it will do it once more, and so forth. And at a point where this condition is not true anymore, then it will stop and perform the rest of the activities in our sequence. It's that easy. So what I want to do is that I want to create two variables. I want to have this one up here. That one will be one value for one of them, because now I counted them, and then I will create another one. It will look like this. What I will do is that I know I will be performing a extract table data like here, and then I will have my variable. So I will be having an assign here and drag it in here because I extracted it. Now I want to assign a variable with the number of rows, so I know exactly how many I got, so I can compare them and make sure I get the right data out. I will have each and every one of the titles. So here I will just say, just as before, but I will just create an integer variable. If I create it here, it will be created as a string. So I will go down here. I'll say int, and I will be very simple. I will call it intA. The variable type, that will be of the type integer. The use case, that will be this use case here. I could, if I wanted, now I can see it already start to get a little bit messy here. There's a lot of things. I could drag in a sequence. So inside this use application, I will create another sequence just for this mouse scroll. I will call this mouse scroll, and then I will drag in all my activities in here. I'll do this because I want better understanding of my workflow. Say if I come back in a month, my colleague come back, then it's very, very easy to see what's going on. I'll just drag in the do while here with the extraction data. So now it's just look like this. I know there's an error. We haven't assigned a value to the assigned yet, but we can just do this when we're done, and we can continue to the actual data scraping, another sequence. It's nice to look at. So let us finish this. We will do the count of our first extraction. So we have created the intA, and this one will take the value of the number of rows that we have in our data table. The expression looked like this. We are lazy, no reason to write it again, so just copy it up here. This is the int A. Now we have an error. If you can spot it, let me know in the chat. Otherwise, I will say that this is because this is an integer. And you remember we added the method to string to it. So we also need to make sure that the right side of it is an integer. I will go down to properties, mark this aside, go to the expression. So if I just delete this, this will also be of the type integer, like this. So now I have my extraction. Now I'll do the mouse scroll. So it will look like this. I'll drag it in. This is a new feature that came in, I think, October last year. It's so cool. We can do the mouse scroll in different directions, left, up, right, down. Usually we'll do it down, but it works with all the other directions as well. Then we can tie it to an element. As I told you, we don't have an end element in our data, so we will not be able to use the to element. If we always know that there was an element in the bottom that we could tie it to, or say that the first video was static, we know that it didn't get deleted, we could tie it to an element, but we will do it on a distance. And this is a dynamic solution. This will work on all YouTube channels, of course, also all other pages with data of this type, where we scroll down and we will see here that we will have the number of scrolls. That is 5. Is that enough? I can tell you it's not, but we will see what's going on with the 5 scrolls. I think that is 5 increments on your mouse wheel. And so what we will do here is that we will also need to, so here this int A got assigned, that is the number of rows. Then we will do some mouse scroll. And here in the condition, we will be creating another int variable, which will be the next extractions row results. We saw those ones were easy. Those ones were 30 and 60, I believe. Those ones are different. Then our loop will run once more. And if you just join the stream, this is just to make sure that we get the right data. We haven't done the actual data scraping yet. So we are now just scrolling down and we want to make sure we get all the right data. So we will send an amount of mouse scrolls in. You could, of course, if you wanted, send 1 million mouse scrolls in. That will probably be enough. But this solution will make sure that we only send the mouse scrolls in we need, and we'll do it properly so we don't hurt performance. So the condition, as I told you, we want to compare 2 integers. And if those ones are different, that means that we have more results down, then we want to do it once more. So we will just create one other integer variable, int b, of the type integer. I will make sure that the scopes are right. So these 3 here, we will only use them in the mouse scroll, even the extract data table, because we only extracted the data table, the titles right now. In the beginning, we saw how we took everything out. We will do that later. But for now, we're just interested in scrolling down. So I will just be in my mouse scroll sequence with with one of these. So now we can actually make a condition here. So I will say int a not equal to, that is if we have different number of rows when we extract the data. So we extract it continuously. If we have different rows, this should run. But we also need, look what's happening here. We are only assigning the value to the A. Then we do the mouse scroll. But then we want to also have the B in place. So I will just do the B. I will do an assign up here in the beginning. And this is very, very smart. If I'll just say int B equals the int A. The int A came here. So then we'll say int A like this. What will happen here is that first time we go in, these 2 are equal to each other. They were anyways, they were 0, as 0 is the default value of an integer. Then we will do an extraction. We'll count the number of rows and do it into the integer and assign it into the intA. And we'll do mouse scroll. And since now these two intA and B are different, then this condition is true. Those ones are different. We will do it afterwards. We'll do it once more. So then, and now we are scrolled a little bit down, so we might get different results. And then we will assign to the intB, we will just assign the old value, do another scraping. Now, if we can actually find new items, these ones are different, and we can do it over and over. Let us see it in action, see that we have actually built it correctly. So if I just do this, and you can see that we actually scroll a bit, scroll a bit, scroll a bit, but it stops. What is happening? And this is just because we only scroll 5 down. This might not be enough to activate, or what you call, make the new ones visible. The way to do this is simply just to hide the number of mouse scroll. I'll just recommend, say, 20. Let us just try to refresh so we can see that we can actually go all the way to the end. Then I'll run the file. So I will run the file. Now we will scroll down. So, and you can see that we have actually created an automation in a little while that takes us all the way to the bottom. Very clever. This is nice because now we can work with the data, we can get the data out, and we're sure that we have all the right data. It's just comparing, and if these two are not equal to each other, then we're scrolling down. We can also see that we stopped here. That's all the way to the bottom. Isn't that clever? So this is the mouse scroll part. This is just to validate that we actually are on the right place, that we get all our data out. So because I could make, if you create this example tomorrow, I might have made a new video, or next month you watch this video, I'll have made several new videos. And this will be a dynamic solution that works whatever number of videos you find on this page. It's also work with Amazon results. If they have a scroll down, they don't, but every search that have a scroll down, this is the approach to do. So if I go back to UiPath, now we have created this, but we can actually apply a best practice. Because imagine that maybe some item disappear and appear in our page, then this one could go on forever. It's bad practice to create an unlimited loop that will just run and run forever. Then we can have a very bad process that will never end, take a lot of resources. So what we will do is that we will probably say that we will only do this 200 times, like these mouse scrolls, or 100 times. That might be enough, unless we think that we have very big YouTube channels. So we will set some sort of a limit. The limit should, of course, be so big that we are sure that we get each result, but not so big that it will take forever and just hurt performance like a million times. And the way to do this is to make an integer variable. This will be an intCounter. What we're doing here is not something that will change the result of this automation. It's best practice. If the page for some reason not behaves as we want, always make some sort of an exit in your while loops, whether it's do whiles or whiles. I'll just say intCounter. It will also be in my mouse scroll. So what I will do here is that right now it is 0. I will just add 1 to it each time I run this while loop, and then I will change the condition a bit. So if I always prefer to make it in the end. It's not really a big difference whether you put it here or up here, but I always, just to remind myself that this is a counter, if I come back here, I will just do it here. So what I will do is that I will say int counter like this, and then I will just add 1 to it, because now each time I run this loop, 1 will get added to it. Then I can add in this condition, I can say do an and take counter and say that maybe we just want to run this 200 times, then we want to stop, then something is probably wrong. This is the way to combat it. It will not change anything here, but this is a thing you should build in all your while loops. These live cases are very nice because I can show you a lot of things that's not directly related to the data scraping, but still things to consider when you build it. We want to make sure that we are definitely on the right page. We want to make sure that all our data is available before we do anything. Actually, you can see here, these videos were not actually RPA videos or some poker videos. I used to be a professional poker player. Not good interviews, you shouldn't watch it, but you can do if you want. So now we are ready to scrape, and I'll just take the chat to see if there's anything going on. Kunal, loving it. Thank you, Kunal, and nice to have you here in this live session. And Akit says, Akit is joining from India. Hello, Akit, nice to have you here. I'm sitting in my basement here in Denmark, a little bit outside Copenhagen, which is the capital. So now we are ready to do the data scraping. I really want you to pay close attention to the things that we are doing. And we actually, this data extraction will be very easy. It will be the fastest chapter in this session. And that is because we already did it. I already showed it to you. And let us see if we can do it right. So now we have the mouse scroll. Let's have another sequence. You can collapse and expand these sequences by clicking the arrows up here. So all our activities in the mouse scroll is in here. We can just view or do this, or we can actually double click if we rather wanted that. Then we will go directly into it. But we will just go out here. Let's name our new sequence something nicer. This is the table extraction sequence, so I will call it that. Now we are ready to do the table extraction. There will be no difference from what we did before. Now we just know that we are in the right place. We're all the way to the end. So if I go up here to table extraction once more, then I can add my data. We want to have the title. Now we're 11. Hello, people out there. So I want to take the add data. I can see I can take the first title here. I just do as before. And since now we have missed the URL, we forgot to click here. Then I can click these, and now this one got grayed out. For some reason, when you cancel your first data, you're not able to, even though it says click data to get started, you cannot find it. The only thing to do will be to close the table extraction down and open it again. I believe that's a bug or a small bug. It works when we have selected one and then we delete the second result, we can add data again. So what we will do here is just to open and close it. No harm done. We need to remember that we want a URL. So I click here, then I click add data. Because now if I select the title, I get two columns. I get new column 0, new column 0 URL. Remember, in programming, when we count something, the first one is always 0. It's 0 indexed. So this is new column 0, even though that in Excel, your first column is 1. And that could make a bit confusion, but that's just the way it works. So now if I click this wheel, here we can see that the sample after passing, this is the title. I will just give it a nice name again. So then I'll say title. Now we actually do the data scraping. We will get all the data out we want, since we know we are on the right page. I will also inspect this. So click the wheel. I will just call this URL. We can see the URL to the first video here. Then I click save. So now we have this. And since we are going to extract, it's still in the same structured data, but we want to extract the time. I know it says live here and it's not here, but we want to extract this. And this could actually finish. Here, it's just a little bit of trial and error, because if I just click add data here again, you can see if I take here, if I take this length, I can actually take a little bit, but I can narrow it down. Over here, I'm not sure if I should take this one with me or do this. So UiPath will tell you if you're doing something wrong. I have no idea. I'll try this one first, and then I will see if all these length gets extracted. It looks like it, that we have the length here, and we're not taking this live icon. That's not. And again, we extracted the URL. We don't need it, and that's because we have this toggle on from before. No harm done. I will just delete the URL like this. Then I will make sure that I won't make the same mistake again. So I'll just toggle it here. That's nothing. And then I will rename this to length. You can see here it's called live. That's because this is the live video you're watching. There's no length on it. And we can actually also, if I click finish selection here, this is just this live here. This doesn't have a time on it. Of course it doesn't, it's dynamic. And now, since we have this URL here, I'll just do this. So now we have title, URL, length. I also want to know which video is my most watched video. And it's probably not this. This is new. It's actually a surprising video. Keep watching. You won't believe, this is not clickbait, but you won't believe which video is my most watched video. So let's find out. I will just click add data. Then I will have this 11 watching. And again, we can see that we have the views here. It says 176 views here. That's fine. I'll rename this as well. Then I'll say views. This is just a sample. It's nice to see that we actually get the results out we want. So I click save. Now I have my data. So I click finish selection like this. Then I click save and I will keep a close eye. I'll just click continue. This is if you want the next button. We talked about that in the beginning. We don't want that. So I'll just click continue like this. So now we do the table extraction here. It will extract to the extract table data. We also call it up here. So just rename it for all occasions, just so we're sure that we're not confusing ourselves. I will just say dtResult, and then I will go into the table extraction once more. But since we want to pass this data out, we want to work with it in the filter part and the write to Excel path, I really want to change the scope to the use case scope. So I want to do this. And similarly, now we have this here, this table extraction. We can click the variables. We have the DT results here. If I go up to mouse scroll, you can see that we have this extract data table here. And let me just do this. And you can see that we are still extracting to the extract data table. This is just not to confuse ourselves. We could also call this one DT tiles if we wanted. Let's just stick it here, but we could rename it if we wanted. So now we have extracted the data, and let me keep a close eye on the chat. There's a lot of people showing up. Bharat says, hi AJ. I'm not sure why. The message came down there. Hello Bharat. Then A. Sullivan, a nice friend of the channel, says he finds these sessions really useful. Thanks a lot, A. Sullivan. Then Bharat have a specific question. And this is not an Excel session. I will recommend you to join my Discord. The link is in the below. We are, I believe, 3,200 RPA developers helping each other problems in all the various RPA tools. You can join there, post your problem, and a lot of people are there to help you, even me. Then Salit Horn says, hello from Thailand. Hello. What time is it in Thailand? I believe you're 12 hours ahead. That will be 10 in the evening. And finally, we have Chen Doran saying, hi. Hello, Chen Doran. Nice to have you here. Let's continue. I will just close the chat here. So, and keep the questions and comments coming. It's so nice to see that you're active here in the chat. So now we do the table extraction. I'll do this. I know I said that we wanted to filter the data before we printed it to Excel, but let's do the Excel part first, because then we can just see that we can actually print it out. I will just minimize this. I'll create a folder here for our extraction. So I will just call this extraction results like this. And then I will open it. It's empty like this. So what I will do here, oh, you can't see it. It's on the other screen, but it's empty. So I'll do this. I will grab this folder here. So I'll shift right click, copy as path. Then I will go back to my UiPath. Now it's time to to write an Excel sheet into this folder. And we will do it with variables. Always use variables when you handle things that can change and things that you use often, such as file path. Because if I wanted to transfer this automation to, for example, a Sullivan's desktop, his desktop will have another address than me. This will not work. You can use something called common folders, but this could also be the approach. Because then if I go down to variables, I want to create a variable in our new sequence. So if I drag this sequence in, I will call this print to Excel. And if you're waiting for the filtering with the UiPath activities and LINQ, it will come in a few minutes. But first we will just print it to Excel. So here I will be creating a variable that we will use to write to our Excel. I will call this str project path, because it's not the Excel path. I'll place my Excel inside it. It will just look like this. So I just Control V, I copied it. It will look like this. And you can see this is quite static. It's called Anders Jensen. Your desktop is not called Anders Jensen unless your name is Anders Jensen. So now I have this one here. I could start printing my extraction results to the Excel. And then after that, we will put in filtering in here in this plus. But let's first just write it to Excel. I will do a write range, take in the workbook like this. Here I will use my path, strProjectPath, but we need to add things to it. So this is also a nice way to see how we can combine a variable with static data. So I have my strProjectPath. That was this one. Now I need to put in an Excel sheet in an Excel book in there. The way to do it will just be to say plus, then quotation marks, since we are now hard coding in a value. I'll say backslash. I can just say results.xlsx like this. What sheet name do we want to print to? Well, let's just call it results. Again, remember to do it in quotation marks. It's a string, like this. Finally, what data table do we want to print out? Well, that is the dtResult. That one must run from our extraction results. Remember, we did extraction in the mouse scroll, but that was only to make sure that we were all the way down. Now we want it with everything from this table extraction. So make sure that's also why we want to do proper naming, handle the scopes well. That is to make sure that we're writing the right results here. Then I will make sure to add headers. I have headers on mine. Let's try to close down this one here so we can see that the scrolling will work. So if I close this down, I click save. I'll just keep an eye on the chat. Alexander is watching from Poland. Hello, Poland, from Denmark. Nice to have you here, Alexander. I will continue. So now it's time to see if the first part of our automation works. We are doing the scrolling down. We're doing it dynamically. Again, we're comparing, we're doing dynamic data scraping. So we're taking one result compared to the next. This will tell us that we are not on the right place. So we scroll down, as you see here. We're scrolling all the way to the bottom. And when we know that we are on the bottom, that is, if these two numbers are equal to each other, it will be right now. Then we will do the data scraping, hopefully, and get all our data out. It doesn't give us any errors. Let's inspect the result. So if I minimize this, go into the extraction results, we actually have an Excel sheet. Let's inspect the data. There you go. It's that easy. So now we have title, URL, length, and views, and we can expand these if we want a full title, if we want to watch this. And we're actually having 300, and that's the number of videos I made, 385 videos I made, because the first one is title. So now we want to find out which one of these videos are my most viewed videos. We can do it in several ways. First of all, I only want to look at the videos with more than 1,000 views. And I do this because then we can filter it a bit. As you can see here in the views column, we have 1.3k views, but this one is only having 184 views. So we want to filter them out and only look at the most watched videos. That will be the videos with more than 1k. Let me close this one down again. Another thing that I want to show you before we do a more specific data scraping is that if we run our robot once more, then this results.xlsx will get overwritten. It's not really nice if we want to have a robot that works every day that our results keep getting overwritten. This will be the approach to make it dynamic. Let me show you. So if I go to UiPath, now we want to make an Excel file for each one of our scraped results. The way to do it is just to change this expression up here. So what I will do here is take the right range and I will fix that. That one is up here in the workbook path. I just find it up here with the 3 dots. I will correct it a bit because before the results, I will have the year, month, days, hours, minutes, seconds. So I'll have the whole date time in numbers, what is called compressed to each other, and I'll use that because that will change from second to second. This one will never be the same unless you run the robot in the same second. Let me show you how this works. I will just go to project. I usually create a side project, usually create a side sequence here when I develop robots. That is because I want to play. I don't know the solution to everything. So sometimes I just need to take a look at what's going on. How can I solve a specific problem, a part of this one? And I just create a new sequence. I will call this test usually or playground or something. It's just an empty one that I can work with. It looks like this. I'll still have my main, but now I can do a little bit of playground. The only thing you need to remember is to delete it when you move your your automation to production. This one is not really nice to have in production. Not that it hurts, but it's still just clutter. So if I wanted to write out the data right now, the date time right now, I will just have a Now.ToString like this. Because now if I run this, you can see that I have written this out. I can't use, this is the year and the month and the days that I want to use in the file name, but I can't really use this since it's forward slashes and I'm not sure I can use colon either. So the way to solve it is just to do some .NET datetime format. If you want to know more about this, this is not particularly related to data scraping, but it's still nice to know how you print it out. And I think you can datetime custom format.NET. I will take the first hit, scroll a little bit down, and the codes for them comes here. This is a nice guide. I will definitely book that. Just do a Google search for this. So datetime custom format.net or something similarly, or just do it exactly like this. So I will just minimize it because now I will use these codes. So I'll say parentheses, and then I will apply years, months, days, hours in 24-hour format. I'll say minutes and seconds. We could of course also do milliseconds, and these codes here, they correspond to these codes here. What we're doing now is to make sure that we don't overwrite our results when we scrape them. So now you can see this one I can use in a file name. And so we will just copy this expression that we just created and use it in our right range over here. Now, if I do this, I want to have them before the results and maybe have some sort of an underscore. So I just go in here, paste in what we did. Then I need a plus, and I could have an underscore. So between these two, I could have a results. And actually, we need to place this backward slash before the Now.ToString, because the Now.ToString is part of the file name. We could do it in several ways. We could make it here, or we can just do this and just add it to the path here. And let me just go in here and just add a backward slash here. So we just moved it from the right range to up here, and then we will have the dynamic part. So now it will look like this. Let me just have a coffee break while the robot runs. You're also drinking coffee out there. I think I drink too much. This is what I drank today, and I think it's almost empty. It is. So now we are hopefully logging dynamically. Our Excel sheet will have a new name each time we run this automation. This is nice. So now the business side can just pick up these Excel sheet. It will look like this. So now this is the format of our Excel sheets. This is very handy. The content is just as before, but it got a new name. And if we ran the robot again, it would have a new name. So now we came to the filtering because we want to make sure that we only get the data we want. For example, only have the, the, the videos with more than 1,000 views. I will just go back to UiPath and then I'll make sure that we don't have any questions in the chat. Bharat says, great platform for learning. Good job, AJ. Thanks a lot, Bharat. Then George says, hey, Anders, thanks from the lesson from Ireland. Thanks a lot, George, and nice to have you here. You people out there, you make it possible for me to make a living on creating YouTube videos. The company sees these videos and then they hire me for company trainings and my wife. And this is so nice that I can just do the things I love. And you guys out there and women makes it possible. So thanks a lot. And we also have Aldit. He's a bit late. Aldit, you can watch the rest of this session and then you can just rewind it. We also have Mayank here. Hello, Mayank, and welcome. So now we're doing the filtering. This is the most exciting part, so make sure you stick. We will do some basic stuff and some more advanced stuff. Because first, we need to filter out the least viewed videos. We will do native UiPath activities, and then we will continue to do LINQ, which is my favorite, one of my favorite things to do in UiPath. So now we saw that we could print it fine. We will drag in another sequence that one will go between our extraction and our print to Excel. So if I just do this, I will call this filtering or data gymnastic or whatever you want to call it. Just have a nice descriptive name. And imagine my colleague comes back to this. It's quite easy to see what's going on. But if I will just have built it, this could be built without these sequences in a long sequence. This would have been terrible to look at. So I do it because I want to come back myself. If I had this one was built for colleagues to maintain, it will also be very easy. Anyways, now we're using some filtering. We'll start by using the simple one, and that is we want to filter our data table. That one was the one called dtResult. I will say filter data table like this. The data table I want to filter, that one was the dtResult. We will configure the filter in 2 seconds, but where do we want to write back to? I will just overwrite the dtResult, I'll not create a new one. You would do that if you wanted both the original ones and the new ones after the filter. So if I click configure filter, I want to only keep rows that have a K in it, because then I know they have more than 1,000 views. What we will do here is that we call our view column, I think we call it views, or if we for some reason just call it view, then this one will throw an error. We can just fix it. So you could verify it, or we can just trust our memory. My memory is not the best, so I usually just check things, but I think we have. Then I want to say if a row in the column views, if that one have a K in it, then I want to keep it. And now I actually forgot if they were big or small case. It was big case, so. And I forgot to look after the views, but let's hope that is. So we only want to keep rows with a K in it. And now if I run this automation, I filter it out. We can also keep the rows that don't have a K in it. It will just be opposite. But now we want the most viewed videos. And in a few seconds, we find out what my most viewed video is, and you won't believe it. It's a very weird video. I think it will have like 300,000 views. Here we go. We're doing the data scraping. That's it. And if we go back to, now we can see that we have a new one here. That one has to be the latest ones. Now we only have videos with a K in the views. So now we have videos with more than 1,000 views. Now we can find the most viewed videos. We can do that by in a lot of ways, but I want to introduce you to LINQ. LINQ is a very powerful language. It's a whole video itself, or maybe it's actually 2 videos. Let me know in the chat or comments if you want a LINQ course, then I'll gladly do that, or a use case build like this, because I like to build. I believe that you learn the most by doing this compared to PowerPoint session. It's also that I'm not that good to create PowerPoints. I'm better just teaching on the fly while things happening. Of course, I have a plan with the session. I did this build before, but I just believe that the sessions will get most interesting if I do it and improvise things when they occur. For example, if I make small errors, I do that in my daily RPA developer life. So of course, I can also do them in these videos. No shame there, and you will also do these errors. Anyway, now we want to say, I want to look inside each one of these rows and then find the value with the highest views. But if I want to compare 2 numbers, they need to be numbers. Right now, they are objects or strings because we can see this K view. I want to have this K view out. I cannot really use those. So let me just do this and we will fix that. I will close this one down again and move to UiPath. So we did a filter. Now we will do a LINQ filtering. I think we will just do a log message to find the most viewed videos with video, which is a bit surprising. It's not a UiPath video. It's a very, very weird video, but it might make sense. So now we have a log message. We will just log it to some info. Then we can give it a value. We will, as I said, use a LINQ here. So what we will do is that we will go to the message here, and then we will print it out. First, we want to have some sort of a message to the user. Then I can say the most viewed video is, and imagine that this could be any other page with, of course, saying customer data or something. Then this will be the approach. Now we can do the LINQ. And we could solve this in various ways with other native UiPath activities, but I just want to show you this because, as I told you, this is cool. So then I say, I want to look in my dtResult, but to be able to apply LINQ to it, I'll need to use a method called asEnumerable on my data table. It will look like this. If you don't have the intelligence on, you can just press Control space. It will look like this, and then you get this auto completion. That's handy. You can see this as enumerable of some sort of a list with data rows in it. So it looks similar as a list with all our data rows in it. Now we can do the actual expression. And as I told you, this will just be an introduction to LINQ. We can do a more advanced case later on in these sessions. By the way, if you like these sessions, you can help me a lot if you give the video a thumbs up. That will help my channel to grow and make a living out of this, create more videos. So thank you if you already like this video. So then I can take order by descending. I want to have the first one, the highest views first, and then I will do a parentheses. So I will create an anonymous function with a variable called something that could be everything, and this name will represent each and every row of our data table, or actually it's the enumerable. So the way we do this is that we will say function like this, like a function from math. Then we will say x. So now, and since we saw that we need to do some data gymnastic because we had the result saying k views, and we want to take out the k views so we can work with them. The way we do it is that we will apply string methods to it. We can do it again in a lot of ways, but this is really nice. So we take the object from the data table, then we'll say replace kviews with nothing, or a blank actually, and then we will convert it to a double. So now we can do the calculation. The kviews will get thrown away. So we'll say function x, and I'll have my intelligence. It will convert what we are going to write to a double, so we can actually calculate on it. And then I will just refer to the x, that was the anonymous function, and x was the variable that represented each one of our items in the as enumerable. So then we will say x, and then I'll say item. And this one, we will look in the views column. So I will say item is always column, so I will say item views. And then I will say, I want to look here, and then I will apply the method to string, so I can apply the method to replace. It will look like this. I know it's getting a little long, but you don't need to fully understand what's going on. But what you need to understand is just a little bit of it, and you know that this is LINQ. So if I go to, just let me put on this and let us see if we have some chat. If you want to know more about LINQ, then you can just Google LINQ, or let me know in the chat and comments if you want a full LINQ course. Anyway, so VirtualBox says, hello VirtualBox, nice of you to join. Anyways, then I click hide. So now we can move a little bit away. We have done this to string. Now we can apply the method plates, and I'm not expecting you to be able to create these expressions on the first day, but practice them. They're very, very powerful. And of course, you need a little bit of coding, but it's not coding as a very advanced language or anything. So you just need to understand the syntax of it. And I make errors. I also sit sometimes and just do them, make an error, and then try it again. So then I'll say kviews. I hope that the V was with. So I say kviews like this. I wanna replace kviews with an empty string. So this will just look like this. I have the comma in between them, and then I'll say, so what's going on here is that I will, for each one of these, I will convert them to a string. We'll replace the kviews with nothing. Then I will convert it to a double, because now I have a number to work with. I only have the number, I'm not having the kviews. Then I'll order them by descending, that have the highest first. And now I can just take the first item. So it will look like this. So I will just say first. And then I will say where do I want to look? So that will look like, I want to look in the first item in the column title, and then I will apply the toString method to it. So this one was quite an expression. I will leave it below as well in the case. I think there's a link to the case as well in the description. So this one will get us the most viewed videos in a log message. Let me inspect chat. Mayank says, please post a session on LINQ. I will do that. It will work like this, where we have a use case to build, because I believe that works the best. It keeps you viewers hooked, and we are learning a lot together. And I'm learning a lot from you, from the questions. A course on most commonly used .NET and LINQ comments would be helpful, Chandorn. Actually, I prepared a case that will take us through all the .NET string and the time coding that we're doing. It will be 2 separate sessions, but they will be upcoming. So stay tuned, and I will do a LINQ course. But now let's try to, I didn't add the robot, sorry. What do you think of this new setup? I think the light got a little bit better. There's still a little bit about my voice where I really want to make a bit of better acoustics in here. But it's nice that the studio down here in my basement have upgraded. Now we are doing the data scraping again, and we want to find my most viewed video. Sorry. And after that, we will order each and everything in a nice way in our Excel sheet, also by LINQ. So now, if I go back here, this one will be this one here. Oh, sorry, that won't be the new result. We wrote it to a log message. If we scroll down, the most viewed videos is auto hotkey beginners tutorial, all the basic functions. That's right, that's my most viewed videos. I used it when I scripted a lot. I automated when I was a professional poker player for 15 years. I used auto hotkey to script to automate my daily poker life. That was both playing, but also doing off-table work, such as database work. We didn't have RPA tools back then, so I had to use auto hotkey. It's not a tool I use anymore. I will not recommend you using it, but it's nice to have some scripting experience, and I can definitely recommend you to learn like something called PowerShell that will help a lot as an RPA developer. It's not the first thing I want to learn, but it might be nice for you to look at sometimes. Now you know it. Anyway, we're still missing the last part. It will be quite similar. We want to sort the videos by views and we will use LINQ to do that once more because see here, these ones are not sorted. We could do that in native UiPath activities, but these links expression will become very powerful and you will use them over and over. The way to do it is that we will have our whole dtResult and we will again convert them, or we will treat them as an enumerable so we can work with it with LINQ, and it will look like this. So now I'm basically just filtering this entire Excel sheet with LINQ. And again, I will just say the dtResult. Then I will do my link on this dtResult and copy the new order back to this dtResult. Let me open it here. And it will not be this long this time. It will work as before. So we're doing it a bit the same. It will look like this. So then I'll say dtResult as enumerable. Again, converting it to an as enumerable. We're treating it as enumerable so we can actually apply LINQ to it. So then we say order by descending. We will apply this anonymous function again here with a variable called, we can call it whatever we want. You don't have to call it x, but it doesn't hurt. So I'll say function, and I'll say x like this. And now I want again to convert this expression to double because I want to sort it by the views. That one, again, if they're decimals, we will have the double. If we only had not decimal numbers, they wouldn't be double. Remember, we have them in thousands, so they actually are decimals in 1,000. So 14.7, that's 14,700. Anyways, now we are converting it to double. And we'll say convert. And then we'll say parentheses. What do we want to convert? We want to take each one of these data rows. We represent them with the variable called x. And we will say, what column do we want to look in? Well, again, oh boy, what did I do here? Here, I just think I pressed Control V and pasted in our date time. So now we have our views. Then I'll say to string like here, because we need to replace the k views again. We only did it in log message. We haven't really changed it. We didn't do it in an assign. So now we will have to do the exact same thing again. So I'll say to string, and I'll say replace, and again I'll just have the k views. And finally, we will just now we won't print it out, but we have ordered it. We will print that to our data table called dtResult. We can just say copy to data table like this. Now we have filtered it a bit. Let's try to run the automation again, and I will have my chat on here while I run. Then I can say I can read it, but I won't be able to show your comments on the screen. So while this robot works, Bharat's session on handling random pop-ups, please. Sure. A good tip if you want to get started, that is to use the check app state, for example. Check if there's an element there, and then we want to continue. Or do you mean random pop-ups that you don't know about, or are they always look the same like this, except cookies? YC Tech Life says, I prefer LINQ as from my past experience, the speed of execution is much faster than the UiPath data table activities. 100%. We use LINQ because it's much faster. These expressions might look a bit more complicated to write. It's a very easy syntax, and you will be able to do them really fast. Now let me show you the results here. Now we have ordered it really nicely. We have the auto hotkey. We have the views. That one have been watched 300 times. And if I scroll down, it is nice and sorted. One last thing. Say that I only wanted 10 results. Then we can actually do, we only want the first 10, say that, results. Then we can change this expression here. I will just, before I do this, I will just say take. I will apply the take method. And I will say, for example, the 10 first, and I will copy it to the data table. So we can either take or skip. Say we want to skip the 10 most viewed videos, we will have a skip. Now I just want the 10 most viewed videos, so I'll do like this. Then I click run. And this will work. So we are doing the mouse scroll, we're scraping the result, and we are writing it back to Excel with only the 10 most viewed videos by applying this LINQ. So I really hope that you get something out of these sessions. These are sessions that will prepare you for your work as an RPA developer. They will not only touch on the specific topic, but all the surrounding things that we need to check or understand. The most important part of this lesson, let me just show you the result here, where we only have the 10 most viewed videos. So it's that easy. These ones are my 10 most videos. You can actually see that my UiPath courses are quite popular. Anyways, that was a one. So if you just join here and you want to get something out of the session, I will say that the table extraction, very easy. Everyone can do that. We saw how easy that was. But the important part was the mouse scroll, not necessarily the mouse scroll itself, but being able to validate that we are on the correct page. And similarly, the filtering, we saw how we could use simple LINQ, and those ones are also powerful. So if you rewatch the session, the next session will be on the screen in a few seconds. And to all of you people out there, thanks a lot for watching. Mayang says, do you have a session on the global handler? I don't have that, and I'm not sure I'll make it. But if I do, it will take some months, because I have upcoming really nice and more important session in my eyes. Not that it is not important, but it's just I have my next 4 or 5 months planned. So to each and everyone out there, or even to the ones that commenting, thanks a lot for being so active. It helps my channel. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. To all of you passively watching, I like you. You also make my channel run. So this is really nice. The session is over. We are saying goodbye now, and I really hope you learn a lot. Let me know in the chat and comments what you got out of this, and see you in the next session, where we'll do more advanced data scraping. It will be really advanced. Actually, we are taking advantage of APIs and the likes. So until then, see you.